the malware. So there's an external breach into this system that we call our bodies, and that is what is operating us in bits and pieces like a computer, and those can only be more advanced entities. And why can it only be more advanced entities? Because you have to have consciousness to operate this. And clearly man hasn't got the consciousness to operate even his own computer, because he's only using like half a module of his RAM, and with that he's rationalizing everything that we've got on this planet. And with that he's trying to tell you how to think, what to do, where to go, what to say, everything involved with that. And then we see in this picture that the biggest portion of it is not even being used. These are being manipulated nowadays by the rational mind. So that's how you see where it fits in with your body. I mean, it's pretty clear if you look at this picture that we are in a dire state. I mean, if you look at the principle of a God or a creator, a supreme being, and a supreme being having created other universes or realities, and if you look at states, our political system is based on a similar structure. You have more powerful countries, less powerful countries, technology in one is better than the other. What might be completely impossible for the one is completely possible for the other, and the technological advance, etc., etc. So, these beings, these entities, they are, say, 10 plus. That's where they can operate. All of these on that field, they go a little bit lower, and a little bit lower. And then of course we have the 2 and the 1. And then we've got the 0 field, which is Earth. So, Earth, with its population, with the people that are mostly just computers, with no consciousness because they cannot touch the non-spatial, non-linear side, which would allow them to see beyond just the physical part. Now this physical part is tied completely into this little box that we've got there. Ever heard the saying, the person who's put God in a box or limited his structure or his power? That's exactly what this is. So our perception of this reality. So some of you out there might be saying, hey, but we send a spacecraft out and we send this out and we can see portions of that and that. Still only part of the Earth, because within the Earth structure or field you have all the little planets floating around it, and the sun and the moon and everything else, but that's still just the Earth field. We are not seeing beyond it, because stars, moon, whatever else is linear. It is our timeline, it is time, space, distance. It takes so long to travel there. We have to, it's not an instant effect. We are not using our soul or spirit connection to actually see beyond it and touch what is higher. So if we look at that structure and we think, okay, so how are we manipulated? We are manipulated via entry. So where are these entities? Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Higher than us, more awareness. This level might only have 1 degree difference than ours, but it's still 1 degree more. Therefore, a simple piece of code can be written to manipulate certain aspects. These are higher, 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 higher. Now, any religious story has got a full structure in it. The full structure is where God, the Creator, had certain angels that rebelled, that left the supreme domain, the interconnectedness with everything, the believing that everything is for a positive purpose, and they wanted to control bits and chunks of creation. And that's why there was a full structure where they got kicked out of perfect abode, which is heaven or whatever your religion might call it. So if you look at that side of it, all these are then the fallen aspects. But they have what we don't have. They have the ability to move without being linearly confined or spatially confined. So they in turn influence us on our planet. If you look at God and grace, emanations comes forth from God, which then flows through here. Because remember, God is not limited. We are seeing this little ball here because that's our perception of God. But God actually created all of this and sees all of this and knew before the time what everything is doing. So you've got these little emanations coming out of him. But outside of these little emanations, you have all these greedy or manipulative aspects which have fallen. So as soon as the emanation comes, they attach to it, big black dots. And this then goes into a structure. That's how they gain entry into what we are doing. So if they're gaining entry and we are perceiving only with a rational mind, the big black writing, everything, we are not even seeing God. We are not tied into what is more and what is better. We are only being manipulated on the black part, the black part being our desires, our greed, our struggle for dominion over everything we see, the rational making it real so I can touch this is real. And this entire rationality has brought us to where we are. So what do we really need in life? We need non-rational, non-spatial, which all the religions have been talking about since the beginning. Since the beginning of time, they've been telling us, look, this is not what life's about. Life's about the soul, because that connects to higher realms. That makes you see the non-rational, makes you perceive God, and makes you have the light of God changing your vibration so you can see more, get out of it, realize that there's malware or whatever form of virus in you that is manipulating your entire structure, and only then can you eliminate it and become conscious. If you have this connection, become conscious to actually remove it. And where is consciousness? There is no consciousness. Everything is rationalized. So if you turn back to our little earth ball here, that is us. And on our planet, at present, you have big economic collapse dooming. You have earthquakes, volcanoes and things popping up everywhere, which in effect is the living entity which was created saying, I'm going to rectify myself of all these evil aspects, economic, raping and pillaging of the lands and the stuff. I mean, we take out so much out of the surface of our planet. It's a miracle it hasn't even collapsed in on itself. Then we've got all our greedy aspects on the planet, governments, institutions, only working to further their own rationality. So our little earth is based solely on the attachment that is being attached to it to create a rational side wherewith we can realize everything. Therefore, the God principle being we were created, if you follow any scripture, in the image of God, we were created as higher beings. That is why we are different than plain animals running around it. But because of the fallen entities wishing to distort that aspect, because they themselves are disconnected from God. And this is a strange part. One might not realize this immediately, but they are robbing this energy. They are stealing this energy so that they can stay alive. Because they are living outside of the source. So because they're living outside of the source, they need this energy. And how can they take this energy, which was destined for the creatures which wants to be connected with God? By distorting it. And their distortion as related to where we are now without consciousness. And it's like many Modern people are reckoning Earth is like a living prison, it's a living hell, everything that goes with it. We have allowed that. Our connection, which got severed, which we could see beyond our little physical box, got severed because we allowed all this rationality to come in between. That is why many religions, I mean, I'm a Christian, but not in the way that you would see normal Christianity, because I don't believe that's the message God gave us. God says we should be spirit and not flesh. We should focus on the spirit. If we focused on the spirit and had the connection, we would not sit with what we have now. If you think of the flesh, it's a base physical element. Yes, it's our motor, it's our vehicle that we can move with, but we aren't driving it because we don't have this. We've got all these little bits and chunks of negative input into it, which is controlled by entities stealing our life essence, blocking it from us, and that's why you see what is around you. And the entire picture is even bigger than this, but this should give you a simple understanding of what is really going on here. We've now looked at our Earth, and we can think that our position is futile. What chance do we stand being completely programmed and boxed in like this? Now this is where the miraculous part comes in. Our DNA is coded with certain aspects. These aspects, I mean, plant DNA, animal DNA is not completely different. A chimpanzee's DNA is only about 2 to 3% different than our human DNA, which is supposedly superior, allowing us a connection which we are not even making. We're scratching around the ground like a superior ape, putting these little things into our planet, which has destroyed it basically, and put it on the brink of collapse. The civilization that's on it, it's no wonder, it's like a cancer eating it up. Anyway, our DNA is constructed in such a way that there's a specific little key in it, and that key is designed to trigger this whole electromagnetic system to seek this higher connection. This higher connection is built in because, remember, we did not create ourselves, we did not evolve ourselves, we were created by God. If we were created by God, then this would be built in, and that would be the reason why man sees something wrong with this picture. If you are seeing this picture as being completely right, and you are ignoring that side of it, or only using a little bit of your feelings involved with it, you have a serious virus operating your system, and there's no consciousness to perceive any of this other stuff. The result of that is you are part of this cancer. And if you are part of this cancer, it means you must be removed off the planet. You are here in your DNA sequence, the rest is for other functions, cellular structure, growth, everything. That little part is meant to create your connection to God. Now, as I said, things are not futile. You have the light emanating, you have all these beings trying to attach to break down this connection. But this light is more powerful, and if this individual is conscious, it can attach to this light. And there's non-linear, non-spatial. It's immediately connected with the source. It doesn't have to go through all the little loops in between as modern Christianity wants you to believe. They tell you, live of fear, don't watch Harry Potter, you'll get a spirit, don't watch this or that will happen. That is the rational mind. The rational mind trying to understand